So the first thing I want to talk about is this whole notion of you need to be your dog's pack leader, all right? And people will call different things the pack leader, the alpha male, dominant one, well, whatever you want to call it, all right? Just for conversation's sake here, I'm going to just keep saying pack leader. So this whole notion of pack leader came from a study that they did on wild wolves. And what they found is that when you take a group of wolves, that the wolves will form a social hierarchy amongst themselves, right? And for whatever reason, people decided that since that's how wolves behave, let's apply that same research to our domesticated dogs. And that right there should have been a red flag, that it doesn't even make sense. That's like me going to study tigers, wild tigers, and learning and doing research, and then coming home and saying, well, 9-pound house cat, I just learned that this is what tigers do, so I'm going to start doing this to you. They're two different animals, yes. Wolves are very closely related to dogs, but they're two different animals. The behaviors are not the same. So trying to, number one, compare a wolf's behavior to a dog's behavior is crazy enough, but then to say that a wolf's behavior is this, and now throw in a third thing, humans should now behave like that to our domesticated dogs. You've got this triangle going, it just doesn't make any sense, all right? So this whole pack leader thing came about from wolves and was applied to dogs. Now, here's the thing with dogs. When you have a group of dogs, okay, so a dog to dog, will dogs form social hierarchies? Will they have a alpha male and pack leader? Sure, absolutely. Dogs will definitely form a social hierarchy amongst themselves, all right? No argument there. That's been proven. But here is where the problem lies, is when we try to take that same train of thought and apply it dog to human, all right? Dogs and humans are two different species, obviously, and there is no battle for who's in charge. It doesn't exist. Just because dogs form a social hierarchy amongst other dogs, they don't do it with humans. We're two different species, and this is where you'll hear a lot of the time. You'll hear the word dominance come into play, right? And that if your dog doesn't listen to you, that it's because he's trying to dominate you, or you need to dominate your dog to get him to listen to you. Well, number one, this word doesn't even get used right the majority of the time. Dominance is not a personality trait. Dominance is a way to describe a relationship between two things, between two animals. And at the root, the reason that the dominance occurs, it's essentially it's a battle for resources, for who controls the food, who controls mating, who controls whatever else, all right? So to just simply say, oh, my dog's dominant, well, that's not even the right way to use the word. You'd have to be describing dominance. Your dog is being dominant over another dog. Can a dog be dominant to a human? No. It has been proven we're two different species, and social dominance does not exist between two different species. It's been proven. End of story. So there's this whole notion of if the dog's not listening to you, it's because he thinks he's the dominant one, is absolutely crazy. Let's just go out on a limb and let's just entertain the thought that it was possible that, okay, dogs are trying to dominate you, and that's the reason why they don't listen. What on earth could your dog possibly be trying to dominate you to gain? Remember, it's about gaining resources, all right? So that's what dominance, that's what the relationship is over. It's resources. So let's think about this. You give your dog meals every day for free. You play with your dog. You give your dog attention. You take your dog for walks. He gets to go to the dog park. You take your dog to the veterinarian. You take your dog to the groomer. You take your dog to the beach, to the toy store. I mean, what on earth does your dog possibly want from you? I can't get your car keys. I mean, come on. Well, what is it that these people think that your dog is trying to dominate you to get? He has everything, all right? Social dominance does not exist between two species. If your dog is not listening to you, there is an underlying reason why he's not listening to you. And we'll get to that in a second. One more thing that seems to be popular is this whole alpha role thing. It kind of comes into place, where your dog does something that he wasn't supposed to do, or you don't like, and you're going to correct him by taking him and rolling him on his side and showing him your boss. This is a great thing to do if you want to get bitten. And if you alpha roll your dog and you get bitten, your dog was 100% right to do it. Alright? Alpha roll, this does not exist. This is not even a thing. Alright? They got this idea from wolves. And what they thought was that when a wolf is trying to assert dominance over another wolf, not human, over another wolf, that the wolf would grab the dog by the neck and force them to their side. What we've learned is that this is not true. One wolf will submissively turn over and roll on their side as a way of saying, okay, you win, stop, leave me alone, I give up. Wolves do not use force. They do not grab each other and roll themselves on the side. Domesticated dogs do not use force and grab each other and roll each other on the side. So for a human to take a dog who's being aggressive and try to grab them and manipulate them and push them on the ground and hold them there is absolutely crazy. Okay? Pack leader, there's no such thing. You can't be your dog's pack leader because you're not a dog. So it's just a waste of time and energy to even give that any more thought, alright? So, this is the first part of the myths. Now, I want to talk about some very specific advice that I often hear that a lot of dog owners, unfortunately, do. And a lot of it doesn't actually harm your dog. It's just you're wasting your time and energy because it's not going to change your dog's behavior. A lot of things you'll hear about, do this to be pack leader, do this to be pack leader. And these things are not going to change your dog's behavior. Now, when you have a dog and you're living with your dog, you, as the dog owner, get to pick the rules. Alright? The rules for your dog, rules for your house. There is not one set of universal rules. You choose the rules for your house. Those are the rules that you and your dog are going to follow. Alright? For example, people think I'm crazy. I don't mind my dog jumping up with his front feet on my table. People come in and they go, what the hell's your dog doing? You let him jump up on your table? That's terrible. You're not the pack leader. No, it has nothing to do with me being the pack leader, not being the pack leader. I've just decided that, for me, I never have anything on my table to begin with. My table's always empty unless I'm eating, and when I'm eating, I'm sitting right there. So if I walk in and I put something on the table, a bag or something, my dog wants to jump up to see what I'm doing, that doesn't bother me. And that's my rules. Does that mean everybody should do that? No, it's your rules are your rules. But there's a lot of these universal rules that seem to be thrown around that are crazy. One, eat before you feed your dog. Eat before dog, right? So people say that if you eat before your dog, it shows them that you're the leader because the leader always eats first. And this has absolutely, again, there is no pack leader, number one, but your dog doesn't have any sort of relationship or view of who eats first. If you're eating first and your dog's sitting there staring at you, he's not staring at you because he thinks you're the pack leader. He's staring at you because you got food and he wants some. That's all it is. So whether you eat before your dog or your dog eats before you can do whatever you like, but it's what's convenient for you. Don't do this because you think, oh, it's going to make your dog sit better, or eating before your dog is going to make him not be aggressive out on leash. It has nothing to do with that. All right. Another big one is that dog owners should never let the dog walk ahead of them, whether it's on leash, whether it's around in the house. That dogs should never go upstairs first or go through doorways first. Again, this has no correlation to your dog. You doing that has no correlation to your dog looking to you for any sort of guidance, or it's not going to make their obedience any better. Think about this. When you're out for a walk with your dog, all right, and you're spending all this time and energy trying to keep him walking on your left side and not letting him walk ahead of you, there are so many sounds and smells and things going around and distractions. The last thing on your dog's mind when you're out for a walk is, where am I walking in correlation to my human? That's the last thing they're paying attention to. When I take my dog out for a walk, I take him out for his benefit. He can walk wherever he wants. He can stop and smell. He can do whatever he wants as long as he's not pulling. And that's my rules. That's how I walk my dog, right? Again, if you want to spend all that time and energy and effort trying to make sure your dog always stays by your left side, hey, that's your decision, that's your rules. But don't do that with the hopes that it's going to make him sit faster, that it's going to make him stop barking or stop jumping, because there's no correlation to that. Okay? Eye contact. Oh boy, this is a dangerous one actually. One of the most dangerous things that I've read is when your dog makes eye contact with you, don't break eye contact first. Make sure your dog breaks eye contact first to show you're the leader. Again, if there's no leader, that's fine. We'll just humor it. Eye contact with dogs is a very threatening thing to do. Alright? So when you are staring a dog down with eye contact, there's no challenge. You're not saying to your dog, I'm the leader, I'm in charge. You're saying, I'm threatening you. And if you stare a dog long enough, that's a great way to get an aggressive response. Alright? Eye contact, it's one thing to get your dog's eye contact and say sit. It's another thing that your dog is completely silent and your dog looks at you, so you go and you just wait there for no reason, just staring eye contact. It's a good way to get an aggressive response from your dog. Okay? Another one is that you shouldn't let your dog go up on beds or couches, because if you let your dog go up there, then he's the leader. He's higher up than you, and now he's in charge. No. The reason that your dog likes to go on your bed, that your dog likes to go on the couch, for the same reason you do, it's more comfortable than laying on the floor. That's it. All right? It's no more complicated than that. It's more comfortable, so your dog wants to go up there. Again, if you want to let your dog go up on the bed or couch, that is your decision. That's your rules. That's not for me to say as a trainer. I never go into someone's home and say, you know what, you can't let your dog up on the couch anymore. You can't let your dog sleep on your bed. My dog sleeps on my bed, all 105 pounds of him. He sleeps right next to me. And that's a decision I made that I like. I like having my dog sleep on my bed. Does that make him sit any better? No. Does it make him stop barking any better? No. But that's the rules that I have chosen for my dog. All right? And this is the thing. You'll hear all these things, you do all these things, and probably some other ones that I'm forgetting at the moment. These are the most popular ones. And people will say that you do these things and this is the magic solution to fixing your dog's behavior problems. And this has nothing to do with it, right? If your dog has a behavior problem, right? And even let's just say it could be even an obedience issue that he's just simply not listening. You have to address the underlying problem. As an example, your dog jumps. And why does your dog jump? It's because is your dog jumping because he was eating before you? No. Is your dog jumping on people because he walks ahead of you on walks? No. Your dog jumps because the underlying issue is he's been reinforced that jumping works. That historically, every time he jumps, something happens. He gets a reaction. People say, no, off, stop. They call his name. No, back up, what are you doing? They push him, they kick him. So he's gotten a reaction. So he's learned that every single time jumping works. And then what else happens is that when the dog isn't jumping, people completely ignore him. We do the exact opposite. Dog is good, we ignore him because it's very easy to ignore, unintentionally, but it's very easy to ignore a dog who's behaving because when a dog's misbehaving, it's very obvious. So the underlying issue with jumping is the dog has been reinforced and given attention and taught that jumping works. Alright? Your dog sleeping on the bed at night with you has no correlation to jumping. Has no correlation to sitting, to down, to come, to stay, whatever it is, alright? So these are a lot of really common myths. Biggest takeaway here, alright? Get your rules, pick the rules that you're comfortable with for your dog and for your house. Once you have those, then we stay consistent. What we're going to do is, those are the rules, everybody in the house needs to follow those rules. Because if there's not consistency, the dog is not going to learn. And that's going to be the next big part of the next video here. But pick your rules, and that is what we do. If we have a behavior issue, whether it's an actual behavior issue, a matter of obedience being ignored, we don't do any of this crazy stuff. We're not trying to become the pack leader, or they're not trying to become the alpha male. All we do, it's very simple. We figure out what the underlying issue is, and we address that specific underlying issue. All right? So hopefully this gives you a good little, jump on dog myths. You now know the truth about all of these things. If you've been doing any of these things, time to reevaluate. If you want to continue doing it, again, for your benefit, don't do any of these things for the dog's benefit. Because like I've said multiple times, there's no point. Pick your rules, start being consistent. You've got an issue, we look for the underlying problem and address that.